Rick Santelli standing by at the CME in Chicago with some housing starts. Rick, the numbers and the data, please.
Yes, our April read on housing starts, 891,000, and that's from an unrevised 1.216 million. Analysts and economists had this one pegged pretty good. They were looking for a number around 900,000. 891,000 is the lowest pace, and that's seasonally adjusted annualized, of course, since February of 2015. That's down a little bit over 30%. And if we look at permits actually were better than expected. We were expecting a number right around 1 million. It was 1,074,000, which really isn't a bad number, so 1.074. And then the reason I think that it was so much better is because in the end, permits down the road, maybe a little bit more hope that it's going to be on the other side of the coronavirus. But don't think that we are not anywhere down a bit, because of the last number was 1.35 million. So this is down significantly. It's just holding up maybe a little bit better. And ultimately, on the housing front, low interest rates continue to be one of the positives. And, of course, the whole social distancing, coronavirus does make the process a little bit more cumbersome, whether it's closing or, of course, going and looking at the house, bringing relatives. I was looking at a house with my daughter actually yesterday, and there's definitely different rules involved in the process than there used to be. As far as the market and interest rates, we see a bit of curve steepening in front of Jay Powell, of course, and it's long maturities. Rates are a bit higher than they were yesterday, higher, especially 10s and 30s. Short maturities are virtually unchanged. Joe and the gang, back to you.
You do that for me. Thanks, Rick. Let's bring in Diana Olick and Steve Liesman for some reaction. Liesman, you're on, baby. Look up. Here we are. What do you think?
Oh, thank you, Joe, for the coaching there. Always need it. Two questions, Joe. Deferred or canceled? And I'm sure Diana will talk about this. But look, we don't know if housing starts were deferred or were they canceled. I'm going to say there's three things going on. One is what's happening to housing prices, the other interest rates, finally the ability of Americans to pay. And if these jobless numbers are temporary, we're going to come back to at least where we were, maybe a little even faster, because of the idea that a lot of building happens outside. So it's possible to do. The permits numbers are not a good sign as to what's going to happen in the next month, maybe another down month. But, Diana's going to know a lot, Joe, about the dynamics inside the housing market. The only thing I'll say is I think the Fed looks at this for an idea of, is its monetary policy working? And this is a really good example where low interest rates are not really going to help right now, but they could dramatically help down the road depending upon what's happening inside the housing market, the ability of people to buy and pay.
I guess it was probably almost 2 months, maybe 6 weeks ago, out in my neighborhood, I saw one of those signs, open house with balloons and everything, and I looked at it, and it was just like so tone deaf. I guess that virtual tours are the only way to do it. And then the house always looks nicer on those virtual tours than in person. Don't you think, Diana?
Well, yeah, but look, there's a lot of dynamics going on in these numbers, Joe. First of all, the difference between building permits and housing starts, which you've already discussed, which is that the permits are better. Builders were already starting to see more traffic come in at the end of April. And when you talk about permits, this is an indicator of future construction. Also, the separation between single family and multifamily. You had single family starts down about 25%, multifamily down 40%. That says a lot about where the builders are right now. They want those single-family housing starts up higher because that's where the demand is. The multifamily, those are the big projects. Those may be in areas where they had to shut down larger projects. A couple of states did not allow construction to be essential business, as most of the country did. But as you say, yes, people don't want to really shop for homes on virtual. That's the difference between newly built homes and existing homes. You can walk into a newly built model on your own, tour the house with nobody there. They'll give you a lockbox key, and you can shop for a home just like you would at any other time. Existing homes, you can't do that. Someone's living there. They don't want you walking through the house. Also, there is such a terrible shortage of existing homes for sale. We had that going into this pandemic, and it's even worse now as people pulled their listings for sale. So you have a critical shortage of existing homes for sale. That is going to benefit the builders, and that's why you don't see the permits down as far as we thought, because they are seeing demand come back, especially for new product out in the suburbs where we know people want to be. They don't want to be in the city anymore. They want a bigger place. They want a clean, pristine, new place. That's why the builders are benefiting.